here's a few movies that I've seen this month that I cannot stop thinking about. First has to be Wicked City. This is a movie that my wife really chose on a whim, and it turned out to not only be a very cool animated movie, but kind of like hentai and Men in Black put together. I don't know, man. I don't really understand the plot of this movie. There's some type of NATO meeting that happens between the regular world and the dark world, and stuff happens, I guess. But this is the first movie that I've ever watched that contains just, I guess, nudity, or not the first movie, but the first animated movie that's meant to be like a actual movie, not hentai. Am I out of myself? I don't know. Point is that weird stuff happens in this movie. There's a lady that basically shoots webs out of her, and everything else is pretty much what you would expect from a hentai. So if you want to watch it, it is on Prime. Next, let's talk about Some Like It Hot. Now, going into this movie, I knew very little. Didn't even know that Marilyn Monroe was in this movie. Hello. But man, this is a comedy movie done right. It's about two guys who basically have to outrun the mob because they witnessed a murder, and so they basically dress up as women to escape the mob. And along the way, they meet Marilyn Monroe, of course, but man, all sorts of hijinks ensues. And this movie is basically the one-for-one. Is that the phrase? One for one? The one-for-one blueprint for white chicks. If you like white chicks, you will like this movie. Was constantly smiling, and this is the first movie I've ever seen with Marilyn Monroe in it, but man, all the pictures that I've ever seen in my entire life of this woman do not do her justice when you can actually see her in a movie, because she is knockout gorgeous. And I literally almost can't stop thinking of this movie because of her. Literally smiling from ear to ear throughout this entire movie because of how funny, how clever, and how it doesn't really try to push a line or go over a line and get you to laugh because of shock value. Very good movie. It is currently available on Hoopla, Tubi, Roku, Pluto, and Freevee with ads, but I believe I rented it on Amazon, so check it out if you want. Now, as a sci-fi lover, this is gotta be one of the movies that every sci-fi lover is told to watch, and Blade Runner was interesting. Immediately when I saw the production set and the atmosphere and the moodiness that this movie was trying to bring, I immediately told my wife, I said, I'm going to love this movie. I can already tell I'm going to love this movie. And it turned out that I didn't love the movie. While I respect this movie for its cyberpunk creation, I guess, and the moodiness, the noir of it all, the story was pretty boring, to be honest. The action wasn't really there. I don't really care about all this other philosophical stuff that they say is all in this movie. I thought that they would be pointing out, he would at least, or Decker would at least explore the fact that he might be a replicant in the film, and it really just comes off as one question, and then they're basically done with it the whole movie. This movie is cool because I love the aesthetic, and I can see how other sci-fi movies that I enjoy and love, really pull from this, like The Fifth Element and stuff like that. But story-wise, it's kind of a dud. I'm excited to watch Blade Runner 2049, but this so-so. And last but not least, let's talk about Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. Just off the bat, I didn't like the first one. I haven't seen it in a while, but I didn't like the first one. I do remember that. Now, going into this movie, I'm like, okay, let's see what they got and stuff like that. And I did enjoy it. It was slow a little bit, but not in a uninteresting slow, but just a kind of paced out slowness. I love the actual heist scene, love the car chase scene, but what really kind of killed it was the last 15 minutes. There's so much in this last 15 minutes that you just like, why? Absolutely why? And as we were leaving the theater, maybe I talked myself into why they would do something like that. But there's particular, and I don't want to spoil it, obviously, but there's parts in this movie that could have been left out in that last 15 minutes that could have made this actual hit. Like even within that 15 minutes, if they would have cut it, like after 7 minutes of that 15 minutes, you would have had a crazy movie. You would have had a crazy movie. It would have been like, whoa, you would have had a crazy movie, but I digress. What movies can't you stop thinking about? Join my movie club and let's discuss. Until next time, to be continued.